I spent the day roaming through the valley, standing beside the sources of the Arvaran, which rise from a glacier slowly advancing down from the summit. The abrupt sides of vast mountains were before me. The icy wall of the glacier overhung me. Shattered pines were scattered around. The solemn silence was broken only by brawling waves or the thunderous sound of an avalanche. These sublime scenes brought me the greatest consolation I was capable of receiving. They elevated me from all littleness of feeling, and though they didn't remove my grief, they subdued and tranquilized it. When I retired to rest, grand shapes congregated around me. The snowy mountain top, the glittering pinnacle, the pine woods, and the ragged ravine, they all gathered and bade me be at peace. But where had they fled when I awoke? All soul-inspiring feelings vanished with sleep, and dark melancholy clouded every thought. Rain poured in torrents, and thick mists hid the mountain summits. Still, I resolved to ascend Montanvert. I remembered the effect the view of the ever-moving glacier had on me before. It had filled me with a sublime ecstasy, allowing my soul to soar from this obscure world to light and joy. The sight of the awful and majestic in nature had always solemnized my mind, causing me to forget the passing cares of life. I decided to go without a guide, for I knew the path well, and the presence of another would destroy the solitary grandeur of the scene. The ascent is precipitous, a terrifically desolate scene. The path is cut into short windings, and in 1,000 spots, you can see the traces of winter avalanches where trees lie broken and strewed on the ground. As you ascend, the path is intersected by ravines of snow, down which stones continually roll. I looked on the valley beneath. Vast mists were rising from the rivers and curling around the opposite mountains. Rain poured from the dark sky, adding to the melancholy impression. Alas, why does man boast of sensibilities superior to those of the brute? It only makes them more necessary beings. If our impulses were confined to hunger, thirst, and desire, we might be nearly free. But we are moved by every wind that blows and every chance word or scene. It was nearly noon when I arrived at the top. I sat upon a rock overlooking the sea of ice. A mist covered everything. Presently, a breeze dissipated the cloud, and I descended onto the glacier. The surface is very uneven, like the waves of a troubled sea. I spent nearly 2 hours crossing it. I remained in a recess of the rock, gazing on this wonderful, stupendous scene. The vast river of ice wound among its dependent mountains, their icy peaks shining in the sunlight over the clouds. My heart, which was before sorrowful, now swelled with something like joy. I exclaimed, "Wandering spirits, if indeed you wander, allow me this faint happiness, or take me, as your companion, away from the joys of life." As I said this, I suddenly beheld the figure of a man advancing towards me with superhuman speed. He bounded over the crevices in the ice with ease. His stature seemed to exceed that of a man. I was troubled. A mist came over my eyes, but I was quickly restored by the cold mountain gale. I perceived, as the shape came nearer, that it was the wretch whom I had created. I trembled with rage and horror, resolving to wait for his approach and then close with him in mortal combat. He approached. His countenance bespoke bitter anguish, combined with disdain and malignity. Rage and hatred at first deprived me of utterance. Devil, do you dare approach me, and do not you fear the fierce vengeance of my arm wreaked on your miserable head? Begone, vile insect, or rather stay, that I may trample you to dust. And oh, that I could, with the extinction of your miserable existence, restore those victims whom you have so diabolically murdered.
I expected this reception. All men hate the wretched. How, then, must I be hated, who am miserable beyond all living things? Yet you, my Creator, detest and spurn me. You purpose to kill me. How dare you sport thus with life? Do your duty towards me, and I will do mine towards you and the rest of mankind. If you comply with my conditions, I will leave you at peace. But if you refuse, I will glut the maw of death until it is satiated with the blood of your remaining friends.
Abhorred, monster fiend that thou art, the tortures of hell are too mild a vengeance for thy crimes. Wretched devil, you reproach me with your creation. Come on then, that I may extinguish the spark which I so negligently bestowed. My rage was without bounds. I sprang on him, impelled by all the feelings which can arm one being against another.
Be calm. I entreat you to hear me. Have I not suffered enough that you seek to increase my misery? Life, although it may only be an accumulation of anguish, is dear to me, and I will defend it. Remember, you have made me more powerful than yourself, but I will not be tempted. I am thy creature, and I will be mild and docile if you will also perform your part. O Frankenstein, be not equitable to every other, and trample upon me alone. Remember that I am thy creature. I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel. Everywhere I see bliss, from which I alone am irrevocably excluded. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous.
Begone. I will not hear you. There can be no community between you and me. We are enemies. Begone, or let us try our strength in a fight in which one must fall.
How can I move thee? Believe me, Frankenstein, I was benevolent. My soul glowed with love and humanity. But am I not alone, miserably alone? You, my Creator, abhor me. What hope can I have from your fellow creatures? The desert mountains and dreary glaciers are my refuge. I have wandered here many days. The caves of ice are my only dwelling. These bleak skies are kinder to me than your fellow beings. Shall I not then hate them who abhor me? I am miserable, and they shall share my wretchedness. Yet it is in your power to recompense me. Listen to my tale. When you have heard it, abandon or commiserate me, as you shall judge that I deserve. But hear me.
Why do you call to my remembrance circumstances of which I shudder to reflect that I have been the miserable author? Cursed be the day in which you first saw light. Cursed be the hands that formed you. You have made me wretched beyond expression. Begone. Relieve me from the sight of your detested form.
Thus I relieve thee, my Creator. Still you can listen to me. Hear my tale. It is long and strange. Come to the hut upon the mountain. The sun is yet high. Before it descends, you will have heard my story and can decide. On you it rests, whether I quit the neighborhood of man and lead a harmless life, or become the scourge of your fellow creatures and the author of your own speedy ruin.
He led the way,